Welcome. My name is Matthew Halliday. I am the President and COO of Canada Silver Cobalt Works. It's my pleasure today to give you a presentation on Canada Silver Cobalt Works. We're the highest silver grades in the world, backed up by a 43101 compliant resource. So our disclaimer, this presentation can be downloaded from our website. We're in the right location. We're part of the Cobalt embayment. It's a prolific mining camp in Northern Ontario. We have a lot of scalability on our projects. We have a very large property portfolio. We have the top tier grades. We have what is called classical cobalt style mineralization, where we have tens of thousands of grams per ton silver in high grade veins. And we have a team with local proven success. Recently, we've completed a financing and we're well positioned to complete the remainder of our 17,000 meters of drilling out of our 60,000 meter drill program. We can complete our environmental baseline study and get the permits necessary for our ramp to the deposit. And we'll have the ability to do a revised 43101 resource update in next quarter. Myself, I'm the president of Canada Silver Cobalt, and I am a resource geologist by background. I have 15 years of experience with drill management, exploration, development, and resource development. And I've worked predominantly in gold and silver, as well as energy metals. Frank Bassa, our CEO, is a professional engineer and metallurgist. He was one of the very first metallurgical engineers here in the cobalt mining camp, and he understands the silver and cobalt metallurgy very well, and I think this is an extreme asset to the company. Doug Robinson, one of our senior geological consultants, has spent 14 years underground here in the cobalt mining camp, and as well as 40 years exploring this camp, and brings a depth of knowledge to the geological team to make sure that we have the ability to discover new deposits and to be able to make the most out of the ones that we know. Diane Tukney is one of our directors. She is a specialist in First Nation consultation and community relations, and has kept all of our relationships in very good standing. And Jacques Manette is one of our directors and a mine consultant, and has in-depth knowledge of bringing mines into production. This is the silver cobalt heartland of Canada. It's the cobalt embayment. It's about 200 kilometers across. It has seen historical production in excess of 500 million ounces. I believe that this camp has only seen the beginnings, and there's many more millions of ounces left in the ground, and we're going to explore and discover them. The Gauganda satellite camp from the cobalt is in the northwest. That's where our main project is located, and we have an area that has seen 80 million ounces of historical production, and we're in very close proximity to that production. Here we are in giving a brief view of the geological power of the area. We're in a very friendly mining jurisdiction. You can see a lot of the major players here. We're just south of the Cadillac Larder Fault, just east of the Rideout Shear Zone. So we have excellent ability to attract the people that we need, the technology that we need, and we are in a place that has seen continued exploration and new discovery. The Castle property that we are focused on is in the Miller Lake Basin. This is the prolific basin that has produced the 80 million ounces of silver historically. We also have the Castle mine, which was part of that production outright, and it remains an excellent brownfields site for continued exploration into the future. We have already discovered new intercepts of silver, gold, and cobalt in the mine, and we're continuing to work on amendments to our closure plan to be able to explore that mine into the future. It is important to note that we are the only company that has direct access to underground workings, as level 1 is completely dewatered. I believe this gives us a geological upper hand. Not only that, but we have our new high-grade discovery 2 kilometers to the east of the Castle mine, the Robinson discovery, where we hit 70,000 grams per ton silver over 0.3 meters. And I think that is where the story really begins. This is a new discovery of a new vein unknown before. And I think this is the first time in about 50 years that that's happened in this camp. We are just outside the shadow of the head frame. So there's mines in close proximity, but these are not, this is not a brownfields project. There's no workings underneath where we're currently exploring. This is a geocartoon of the area and is facing south. So you can see the footprint of these mines are not very big. It doesn't take a large footprint to get a lot of bang out of these extremely high grade, narrow vein cobalt deposits. And we have a lot of ground between our high-grade Robinson discovery and the Castle mine. So the Castle mine was one of the higher grade silver mines in the camp and is one of the last producing mines. And the mineralization should be dipping from the Castle mine towards the Robinson zone. So the ground that we have, the 2 kilometers of strike there, remains extremely high potential ground. And we are focused at bringing the Robinson zone into production, and we're continuing to grow our resources at the Robinson zone and take all the proper steps so we can get down there with a ramp in the near future. So as I mentioned, we hit 70,000 grams per ton silver. We did not take structural measurements at that time. Now we do everything with oriented drill core. So we went back down the pilot hole with a 360-degree camera. We took the orientation, we modeled into 3D. We designed a 3,000-meter drill program explicitly to put resources on the Robinson zone. So we initiated this drill program at the end of 2019 and the beginning of 2020, and we had the first maiden resource ready for May of 2020. This is the very first 43101 compliant resource on an in-situ deposit in the Cobalt camp ever. We're really excited. We had 250 ounce per ton for 7.5 million ounces. This is the highest grade silver resource in the world. And we wanted to show that we can, one, build resources here in the Cobalt camp. 2, we understand the deposit model. 3, we understand the drilling methods that are necessary to accomplish these goals. And we're just using this as the beginnings to continue to grow our resource. This is some of the drilling that went into the initial resource. We hit 70,000 grams per ton over 0.3 meters in wedge number 2. And you can see that there's silver leaf penetrating into the wall rock. We also hit 50,000 grams per ton over 0.6 meters in wedge number 1. And this is what we call classical cobalt style mineralization. So when they mined here in the Cobalt camp, they mined veins on the order of 1 inch to 12 inches, the average width of a vein being 3 to 4 inches. And they had this type of grades to make that a sustainable option. Our resource is very silver heavy. So you can see that we have our 250 ounce per ton is no equivalence on that. It is just straight silver, as well as we do have a cobalt byproduct in some of our zones from 0.1 to 0.2% cobalt, and we do have a zone of 0.5% cobalt. As we continue to grow these resources, we're going to continue to find the high-grade silver that has been so important to this project, but we will eventually have a different portfolio in cobalt and in nickel. And so these veins have potential to host higher grade cobalt and higher grade nickel as well. So we're very excited to continue to grow this portfolio. And here is some of the new veins that will be included. In December of 2020, we hit vein number 2, otherwise known as Big Silver. And the Big Silver vein is 60 meters away from the original Robinson vein, and it's at the same elevation. And we had 89,000 grams per ton, 853 grams per ton silver over 0.3 meters. We did a screen fire metallic on this, and the coarse fraction of the screen fire metallic reported 90% silver. The silver liberates very well. It is 5 to 7 centimeters true width. So we're still taking that classical cobalt style mineralization. And we also intercepted a vein system called the 17-meter zone between the Robinson vein and the Big Silver vein. So we're very excited about that. These are all important to our resource update and resource generation. So we did the same strategy where we implemented wedge drilling and going back on the vein from surface to be able to put resources onto this, this vein system. So here's some of the intercepts from the Big Silver. Wedge 2, we hit 51,000 grams per ton over 0.41 meter. Wedge 4, we hit 53,739 grams per ton silver over 0.48 meters with also a 2.2% cobalt. So Big Silver, the original pilot hole, the almost 9% silver, had 1.5% cobalt. And so this is growing to be a much stronger silver and cobalt potential vein. We've been continuing to explore south of the Robinson. We hit a new vein system, the 61 vein system, where we intersected 30,000 grams per ton silver over 0.45 meters. It's 35 meters south of the Robinson. And this is really exciting news as we continue to grow our vein portfolio and we continue to understand the structural controls and orientations of this project. And not only that, we also hit in hole 65, 70 meters south of the Robinson zone, 7,000 grams per ton silver over 0.38 meters. And this was in the Archean stratigraphy. So normally in the Gauganda area, the veining comes in the Nipissing lithology, but it's not stratabound, and we have intercepted it much shallower. And so this is very encouraging news as we've continued to broaden the vertical horizon to which we can intercept the silver. Not only that, but we do intend to ramp south of the Robinson. So this gives us an opportunity to be able to intersect silver earlier in the ramping development. So here I have a couple of cross sections to kind of bring this all together. We'll start off with the plan view. So the plan view, we have the main Robinson. That was our first resource. In fact, this is a reinterpretation of that. So the original Robinson vein was much smaller. We've continued to work on refining the geological model, expanding the Robinson. We have our 17-meter zone, followed by the big silver to the east. And then south of the Robinson, we have our 61 zone. We can see this on section number 1. I put in where we have one of our wedges on the Robinson vein, where we hit 50,000 grams per ton. You can see those are near vertical veins, and they're in very close proximity to each other. Section 2, again, this is facing southeast, and you can see the dips of these veins. Again, they're very high angle veins near vertical and in very close proximity to each other. And we put the key intercepts on here. CS 2161, we hit 30,000 grams per ton over 0.43 meters. And again, in section 3. So we've continued to be modeling this vein system and understanding the structural controls, and as well going back with wedge drilling and intersecting again from surface to be able to put the high grade panels onto these veins and get them into a resource update. The property as well has a lot of potential. We have a lot of targets. We've stepped out 650 meters. We hit 2,200 grams per ton silver over 0.45 meters. We have a large number of these targets generated. So as we go into the future and we've solidified the Robinson zone, we have a lot of potential for exploring into the future. We do have some gold that's very important to the story, some near surface, which is en route to where we want to ramp, and some at depth in the Robinson, which can add credit to a cobalt vein. We're continuing to drill at the castle. We're getting ready for our resource update, and we're getting ready to put a ramp down and get it permitted. So the environmental baseline study, we started in February. We'll be completing all the data collection Q1. We're starting the draft permitting now and getting ourselves ready for final permittings. And we will have a resource update, potentially followed by a PEA, Q1, Q2. And we hopefully will be ramp developing by the end of next year. This is a conceptual model. We want to go down, take a large bulk sample, and we want to continue to drill on section, on fan, open up this deposit and generate resources as quickly as we can using long hole drilling on fan, fan drilling horizontal. Quick snapshot of the baseline study. It's going very well. We have specific claims designed to go into advanced exploration. And when it is all said and done, and we do get down there and we extract a large bulk sample, we're going to process it at our Temiskaming testing facility, where we've proven in 2019 that we can pour silver bars from our waste material at the Castle mine. This facility has a grinding circuit and a bullion furnace in the basement. We have a Re2Ox technology, which is able to produce cobalt sulfate on spec for the EV market. And this is an important piece of our long-term strategy. And we have new properties to add to our portfolio as we enter new phases with the castle. We can continue to add value by exploring new properties. And that is the end of my presentation today. Thank you very much and have a wonderful day.